Erin Phillips is a dual sports superstar. She has won 2 WNBA basketball titles and a world championship. In AFLW, she has won 3 premierships and 2 league Best and Fairest awards. Erin joins me to chat about a new team that she's a part of, along with some other sporting stars. You're a part of Medibank's new ACL United initiative. Could you first of all just explain a bit about what that is kind of about?
Yeah, so I joined a new club, the ACL United Club, a club that I really wish I wasn't a part of, because to join it you have to have done your ACL, which is a ligament in your knee. But I'm very excited to be a part of this journey with Medibank, which is basically raising awareness around just how many female athletes are unfortunately doing their knees, and we want to help with that research, and that's the one thing that's probably been lacking in the past, is the amount of research and sources put into to help avoiding female athletes sustaining this injury. So females are 6 times more likely to do the ACLs than males. So it is obviously a big number, and we want to help reduce that. And then obviously if athletes do go through it, how can we best support them?
And I guess a lot of people in Australia and just around the world have heard of ACLs, but I guess some people maybe aren't sure exactly what it is, although you've explained it a bit. Would you mind explaining it a bit more
Yeah.
and what happens when you injure it?
Yeah, so the ACL is the anterior cruciate ligament, which is the middle ligament inside your knee, which unfortunately, if you snap it or tear it, it's a really big stabilizer in your knee. So when I did my knee back in 2019, unfortunately, I've done 2. I did my first one back in 2007 on my right knee, and then that was playing basketball. Did my left knee playing football in the 2019 grand final. And a lot of ACLs can occur with change of direction, impact on landing, not being strong in stabilizing your knee. So your ligament under a lot of stress can actually snap, which mine has, both of my knees. So and unfortunately it's a very, very long recovery. It's not 6 to 8 weeks. It's anywhere from 9 to 12 months. Usually around the 12 months is when they let you come back to full competition. So it's a long time out of the game for athletes, and especially for female athletes who are getting paid to play. This is a salary that can be obviously taken away through injury. So it's something we want to try to get more research, more information, and how best we can help avoid doing these injuries.
And yeah, you've done 2 ACLs in the past, like you've just mentioned, and you've probably lost about 2 years of your career, sadly, because of ACLs, basketball, and then AFLW as well. Like, how frustrating is that just as an athlete?
It's incredibly frustrating. And I think my 2 ACLs were very different. I think my first one, I really didn't know what to expect. I was just about to turn, I think I was, 21, and I didn't really understand the recovery. I didn't really understand the injury, and I was learning a lot along the process. And it's a very lonely, long, boring rehab, especially those first few months when you're pretty much limited to doing very much. And my second one, when I did it, because I knew what I had done and I knew what was in front of me, it was very mentally challenging, because I knew what to expect. So I suppose there's good and bad things in that, of knowing what to expect. But I suppose the bad thing is I knew how hard and long and mentally and emotionally challenging it can be to get back from these injuries. But I think the biggest part in what Medibank want to do is try to help support these athletes that go through it. So that's and best try to avoid the injury, and if they do go through it, then how best to support them.
And I guess with this new thing that you're a part of, you must get, I guess, lots of offers in sport because, you've been around for a while, you've done lots of things. What made you want to be a part of this?
Yeah, I just think because I am an athlete who has done the ACL, I think we definitely need more research. We need more time and effort put into to try to figure out, well, why is this happening? Why are female athletes 6 times more likely to do the ACLs? We need to put more resources into this question, because we're seeing more and more female athletes play sports, more female athletes playing footy, and I just want to make sure that I can play a role in however I can to help raise awareness, get support in this space, so that we can get some research and understanding and training and to why this is happening, and hopefully avoid it. And sometimes it's just unavoidable and bad luck happens, but if we can figure out a way we can reduce that number significantly, that would be fantastic, and that's why I'd love to be a part of it.
And how do you think this new kind of thing that you are a part of can kind of help? Because, a lot of women in AFLW and lots of other sports, when they get ACLs, that can kind of interfere with their other life, if they're a mum like you are, or if they have other jobs or whatever. So how do you think all of this new research can really just help support women when they do have an ACL, or to prevent it?
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, when I did my second ACL, my first one I didn't have kids. Second one I had the twins, and our baby boy Drew was on his way to the world, and I was just I was incredibly emotional, because I felt like I was so debilitated in being a mum, and that was such an important, and it is an important part of my life, of being able to be the best mum that I can. And when your legs has to be up in ice and you can't move, I was very emotional about that. That was probably the hardest thing, as I didn't feel like I could be the best version of myself as a mother and a partner. So I think as long as we can, I think the biggest thing to realise is that this injury is going to happen. It's going to happen to females, males, more likely in females. But I want to just be a part of, how can we bring that number? How can we understand more? How can we bring that number down? And how can we best support these athletes that are going through it, with a lot of information, a lot of kind of directional rehab of how they're going to get through it. But also the number one factor is, how can we stop it happening in the first place, or reduce that number as best as we can.
I think, yeah, because I think that's kind of, really important, because I think I've read in research that not knowing why exactly ACLs can occur so much in women's sports can, even lead to like sexism in women's sport, and people saying that, oh, maybe you guys shouldn't be playing, sport at all, because maybe your bodies aren't meant for it. Do you think that if we do get more information, that can maybe encourage the next generation of girls feeling more comfortable to playing sports and not having to worry about all of these ACLs?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want all the girls that are watching this podcast just to don't ever listen to anyone say you should be doing this because of your gender. Like, that's ridiculous. And we're going to put in a lot of time, a lot of research, and make ACL injuries slowly come down, and hopefully that they can grow a lot of confidence and support in knowing that there is so much research now being put behind this, and that they can go out there on the field, whatever they're doing, and just feel confident and comfortable that they're going to be supported.
I did just want to quickly go back to the AFLW Grand Final in 2019 again, where you did your second ACL. There was a crowd of 53,000 people there, and there were so many people watching it on TV when you did your ACL, unfortunately. And I guess everyone just kind of started to talk about it afterwards and kind of just be more aware, because I know I was watching it on TV and I started to become aware of this ACL, and I was like, oh, what is this? Suddenly it's happening everywhere. Do you think there was kind of more awareness after that, and that's when people started to realize like how bad it was?
Yeah, I think there was always, if you were in the athletic circle, you knew what an ACL was, but maybe to the average person, they didn't really understand what that injury is or was. And I suppose me doing my knee in front of 53,000 people, and obviously people watching it online and on TV, definitely what probably would have taken notice of what an ACL was after I had just completely snapped mine. So I suppose everything everything that's, I suppose, a negative or a disappointment, you always try to find the silver lining, right? So if that moment was a silver lining to raise awareness and understand what an ACL is and what athletes go through, and obviously, unfortunately, more female athletes go through statistically, then I was happy to play my role in trying to find a silver lining in that.
And I've just got one more, if that's all right.
Sure.
What would the ACL United team love for people to maybe do after they see this interview? Like maybe it's researching more about ACLs or just finding out so they can be better informed about, how to deal with it and just how to support people around them if they get it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of obviously different resources out there. If you head to Instagram, ACL United, you'll be able to find obviously more research through what we're doing with Medibank. So that's a really good starting point. And obviously keep having the conversations. Support each other that are obviously going through it, and if someone is going through an ACL, direct them to here. So and fingers crossed that we can find a solution to reducing this terrible injury.
Hopefully. Thanks so much, Erin.
Thanks, Abs.
Thanks for listening. To support Her Way, visit the link in the description section.